called me on the phone, which was already pretty annoying. I said, what do you want? He said, dude, my car is stuck. I'm pulled over on the side of the road. I've got a flat tire, I'm low on gas, and my phone's about to die. I said, you think that's bad? How do you think I feel? I'm the one listening to all your problems right now. 1 minute ago, I was taking a nap. Then I heard the phone, so I answered the phone, and well, you know the rest. So how do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? Do you care about how I feel now? Just think about how I feel for once. Anyway, after that, his phone died, so we got disconnected. I don't know whatever happened. I never heard from him again. He's dead. Later on, my boss called me on the phone. I tried to send it to voicemail, but she kept calling back. So I answered and said, hey, boss, what's up? She said, I'm understaffed because nobody wants to work anymore. I said, you think that's bad? How do you think I feel? I spent my whole life trying to be an artist, and I don't even have health insurance. How do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? Do you care about how I feel now? Just think about how I feel for once. Later on, I was in therapy. My therapist asked, how do you feel today? And I said, I'd rather not talk about it. Think that's bad? How do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? How do you think that I feel? Do you care about how I feel now? Just think about how I feel for once. Just think about how I feel for once. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dustin's Vinyl. Here's your host, Dustin Chafin.
What is happening? Anthony Kapfer, everybody. How do you think that I feel? You should have me on the chorus. How do you think that I feel?
Let's do it.
I need your therapy because I'm a cranky man.
Cranky pants.
Huh? Look at that. I'm wearing the merch. I'm that guy. I wear the shirt at the concert. I promote my special and I wear the merch.
Guy.
Gotta do
the
it.
merch.
Well, you're not on Dry Bar at this moment, so you can wear the Dry Bar shirt.
I could. That would be funny. Yeah, if I did another one and then I wore the merch.
You would come out wearing
during the show, that would be pretty lame.
They have a hat. You're wearing the hat too.
All right, give it up for our co-hosts, Adam Holtz and Jeffrey Paul, everybody. What's up? I did see a guy. I was looking at all the dry bars, and I did see one guy with a T-shirt, and I was like,
"That's so funny."
That's lame.
It's funny. You do your next special. You wear in the dry bar, like everything. You take off the sweatshirt. You have a dry bar sweatshirt underneath it.
Hat, whole thing. That'd be fun. I have a T-shirt gun, just shooting dry bar shirts into the crowd. Might work. I'll take it. I'll do anything. I don't care. I am a hooah. Nice to meet you guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So yeah, I did do a dry bar. Let's talk about that.
Talk about
it. Just came out. I don't know if you guys out there in Twitch land want to see me do comedy. Probably not. You see too much of me already. I'm here on Thursdays. I'm here on Wednesdays. I'm here. Yeah. But yeah, it was dry bar is pretty cool. It's like it's like a cool platform for comedians. You know, they do an app on your Apple TV and all that stuff. So it's kind of fun. It's cool to be a part of it. Anthony was there at the the viewing party. I noticed you guys weren't there. I mean, you claim that you live far away, but you still could have. You could have came out.
You could have flown.
I cooked soup and everything. I cooked.
It was so good.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, cranky pants. Yeah. All right. God forbid we have a graphic come up. Right. We
What do you want? He pulled
I'll
it
put
up
it in
on his
post.
phone.
That's our producer here. You just in the beginning, that's all we did. We were just like, here's this meme. I loved it when you try to do memes. You'd be like, nobody could read it. You'd be like,
Let me just describe it to you. All right, so Kermit's drinking a tea.
Yeah, so anyway, check that out. Cranky Pants Dry Bar. I'm excited.
It's a very funny special.
Thank you.
I loved it.
It was fun. I had a good time doing it. What was really funny about it is, I was a missionary in, the Mormon church. And then, obviously I'm a heathen now. But the first time I was in Provo was at the Missionary Training Center. And that was in Provo, Utah, the Missionary Training Center. So I was fresh with my crew cut and my white shirt and my tie and my name tag. And like, that was my life. And then to come back as, a comic into Provo. And then I do my special there was really funny I come back, I got a beard, I got a hat, I got sins, you know what I mean? Like, I come back. And to film, that was really fun. So I got to play with the Mormon thing a little bit. So that was interesting. But anyway, enough about me, more about me. This beautiful dog. What are you doing? This is who's?
Oh, who is that dog?
Dude.
I lost your audio for a second, Dustin. I don't know what happened. Your audio's out.
We lost his audio. It's okay. He'll figure it out real soon. That's a cute dog.
Very cute dog.
Anyway, you guys have dogs?
Nothing. Yeah, we got 2 dogs.
You have a dog, Anthony?
Yeah.
What kind of dog do you have?
Well, we have 2. The one that we had
There we go.
for it's some kind of terrier mix, and the other one is a Maltipoo that we just got.
Very cute. And we have Dustin back, so we're good.
Yeah,
Here we
Dustin's
go.
back. We're talking dogs.
Way to go, Jeffrey. I appreciate you saving the show. What kind of dog you got? I love it. That's a pro right there. That is a pro. You just go into whatever.
We go into. I see a dog. I do a little dog talk.
We talk
dog. Obviously, I knocked the mic out trying to show the big dog face, and then then here we are.
Let us know what kind of dogs you have out there.
Dogs.
You give me a topic, I'll pretend to know it.
Dogs. Give us your favorite dog and then your favorite album, and just pair the 2 together, like Black Sabbath and Labradoodle. You know what I mean? Like, just try to blend.
Who let the dogs out? What's the name of the album? Probably Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yeah, apparently that's about ugly girls at the club. Not a very nice song.
Oh,
really?
I had no idea.
Yeah,
that makes sense now.
That does make sense.
Just why there's so many dogs on the street, but apparently it's about So these guys are not nice guys.
No, that's Baja Men.
Wow.
Who knew the Baja Men were?
I saw a documentary about the song, and it was saying that like all these people claim to have written the song before the Baja Men.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What a horrible song.
Actually, I think
no Stairway to Heaven. Come on.
I think it was a cover, but but even whoever it was supposed to be a cover of, they're like, this goes back to the 70s, like sports chanting, and it was a pretty interesting. I forget the name of it, but there's a documentary about the song.
I can't believe you saw a documentary on it.
It's so good.
Was I right? I was right? It's about the girls at the club, right?
They didn't talk about that, but that makes total sense.
I would totally believe that, but
it is. I mean,
but that's the kind of song you would take credit for. Who gives a shit song?
Yeah, it is a pretty bad song. It is a pretty bad song. You know what I mean?
They're still playing it somewhere right now. I'll take the royalties.
Before you came on, Dustin.
Go ahead. Yes.
We were just saying what fucking shit we were listening to.
Oh yeah.
For this episode.
Oh, with the bad music.
Oh
yeah,
man,
bad. That's why I played that song. That song is called "You Think That's Bad."
But you have to listen to bad music to appreciate good music. You know what I mean? I think.
Do you?
I think so.
Take the good, you take the bad.
This whole show is just to make you angrier.
I was saying Anthony's choice made me physically angry.
Yeah. Which one did you choose, Anthony? Which is it?
I chose Metallica's Saint
yeah,
Anger.
yeah. That's where they try to be grunge and stuff, and like
Saint
STP.
Anger.
Oh yeah.
Fuck,
That was pretty bad. But I appreciate that. Like we'll get into it here. I guess we'll just get into it. But the idea we'll get into. I appreciate it sometimes, but I don't think an album needs to happen, you know, like a quirky cover, you know, like there's that thing that's floating around. Everybody says Kanye is singing, but it's a Hootie and the Blowfish and they're doing an STP song. And,
Oh, you know, they did a good cover of it.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's like they're doing a good job, you know, and you know,
Was that
Tell people what
Interstate
it's
Love
about.
Song?
I don't know what song you guys are talking about.
It's Interstate Love Song, I think, right?
yeah, and it's like Hootie and the Blowfish. They cover it, and he's got a great voice, dude. So
Yeah.
it's like it sounds good, but everybody's like, remember when Kanye did STP because he looks like, you know. So it's just funny because at first you're like, is Kanye doing it, and it's not Kanye, obviously, but it's, you know, it's just really funny.
I never thought that's pretty funny. I never thought that Darius Rucker looked like Kanye.
Yeah, he doesn't. Trust me, when you just see the name Kanye and when you look at his face, he looks just like him. But
He's very underrated band live.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My dad really liked Hootie and the Blowfish, and I would always make fun of him. You know, he would just be like, "Hootie's on, just have some respect," and I'd be like, "Really? Is that what's going on right now?"
I think they all think his name is Hootie. It's Darius Rucker. He's great.
Well, my dad was a good drinker, and so I think that's a good bar band. You know, they're a great bar band. Like that's a band that you shoot back some with your college friends or your work friends or whatever. So I see the appeal, and that was a solid single, man. That, you know, only want to be with you. I mean,
that album is one of the biggest albums. Of the
was
2000s.
it Hold My Hand? That's
yeah,
another
that was
one.
Cracked
That was a good,
Cracked rear view.
I mean, obviously, when it was happening, I hated it because I was into grunge and stuff. I was a little kid, but now I look back and I'm like, man, I wish bad music was
I'm
that
just
good
open-minded.
now.
I love everything.
Yeah, right.
Well, but come, like if you're 9 or 10 years old,
who's not self-aware, go ahead.
But I wish bad music sounded that good now.
I'm sorry, Andy. We were unroasting each other. What was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. You said now you think it's better than it was than when it came out, kind of thing.
Yeah, like the quality of bad music at that time was so much better than the quality of bad music now.
Oh,
I'll listen to Hootie.
Yeah.
I'll listen to Dave Matthews Band. If that's like the worst that it's going to be, I'll take it.
Bad music with a band is always better than like bad music with a keyboard or like a dance track or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these songs that we listen to, like for this episode, even, you know, it's like, yeah, I think, yeah, and I like that. That's the thing I've always said. As long as you're trying with a guitar, you know, I'm probably going to give you a fair shot.
That's why you like me.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I got the drums going. I got the bass.
You know,
it's coming out of the guitar.
You're sweating. You know, you got a little sweat under that hat. Like you're going for it. You know, like Sweet Home Alabama. You went for it, bro. You did. You went for it. Not an easy one. You got to have a whole band behind you, and you did it.
Am I right there, Dustin? You're just looking for someone to put in a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
Put in the work. Put in a little bit of effort, and you're going to give him a fair shot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very snobby about my new wave, but I'm very open about my band, you know. And so I feel like a band, like with strings and drums and stuff. Like I feel like, you know, because that's the thing. I mean, even like, and I know Anthony, you know, punk is like you gotta kind of have a little bit of that with punk. You gotta kind of be more into maybe the vibe of the band or, you know, the voice or the energy and stuff, because not, you know, a lot of punk is not that great and a lot of it is, but there's some where you're just like, okay, I like the energy more than the actual sound, or you know what I mean, or the lyrics are good, or you know what I mean, they're fighting for something, you know, or maybe it's just the logo's good, but you still like the band.
Well, you know, it's
like Black Flag.
Like Black Flag.
Anthony's gonna get after you on this one.
I mean, I love Black Flag. I love Black Flag, but there was this dude on Twitter that was shitting on Meg White as a drummer, saying that like the White Stripes songs would be better with a good drummer, and then Questlove was defending Meg White.
Oh, good for him.
Talking about how you know, the problem with music now is that it's everybody's trying to make it sound mechanical and lifeless, and what she added to the band was you know, a human element and that groove of a human being.
Was the guy on Twitter Jeff Paul 623?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's people that complain about Ringo and the Beatles.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that everybody always thinks that there could be a better person in a band, and it's like, but what they don't understand, it's not always about, like, I've even given shit about Foo Fighter guy or whatever, what's his name, I can't think of it. Dave Grohl. I'll be like Dave Grohl, whatever. But it's like, but all the elements of a band coming together, the reason they are good is because all these people are together in that band. And it's not just the instruments they're playing and the music they're playing. It's about that vibe of people. Like, if he hadn't been with Meg, he even created that sound? Like, because I'm sure she was encouraging that sound. And with the bands that have these drummers that are whatever, somebody always wants to pick apart. I mean, I remember like U2 was big and everybody was saying that, like, the Edge couldn't play guitar or whatever, but they still figured out a way to have this big sound that
he's monumental to that band.
And he's got his own
monumental
sound.
to that band, like she is monumental to the White Stripes.
Yeah.
She's not in that band; it's a completely different
band.
That's what
I'm saying. That's exactly
it's the Raconteurs without her.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
People do that with Tom Morello too, saying that he's all like effects and whatever, even though he created a whole sound.
People talk too much.
Sound. How can you criticize these people?
I don't
Especially
know.
like a guy like Tom Morello. He's such an innovator. You may not like his sound, but you can't say, "Oh, he sucks." That's
Nobody else
insane.
sounded like him before that on guitar. And if you do it now, you're ripping off Tom Morello.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. Anthony's pretty hard on Springsteen. So
well, that's right. You got to draw the line somewhere.
I'm just saying it can be done. It can be done.
Springsteen would be so good
he
if he
hasn't
had a
had
better
much of a
singer
career
and
that
another
Bruce
songwriter.
Springsteen. He doesn't have a deep catalog at all. Now he's not a good songwriter. He's not a good lyricist. He doesn't think extra. He's not good at any of those things.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, even somebody like that, they can be rough on this show. We're rough on people. Anthony. So this episode was kind of a weird one. And last episode, I guess we did the first part of it, which was what is it again, Adam?
It's the so it's Rolling Stone's 50 genuinely horrible albums by brilliant artists.
And last week we did.
So we defended. We picked four albums.
We defended albums that shouldn't be on the list.
Shouldn't be on that list. Yeah.
I really couldn't find any that I felt like they all should be on the list. I'll be honest with you.
They
should be. I had a hard time like finding the two. Finding one that shouldn't be on it. I'm gonna be honest with you. And so, I feel like that was a pretty decent list. I thought, some should have been on there that weren't. Like that, what is it? That stupid Garth Brooks album where he played another dude. That should have been number one.
Chris Gaines.
Was it Gaines?
Chris
Gaines should have been on there, and Chinese Democracy should have been on there.
Chinese Democracy should have been number one.
Yeah, the fact that those two weren't on there, it's like, all right, are you 23 or something? Like, what's going on? Like, how do you not pick those two? But
especially because it took 13 years to make Chinese Democracy. That's one of the worst. That makes it probably the worst rock and roll album of all time.
Yeah, because it took so long and so much money and so much. They could have had anybody play on it. Like they had unlimited means to make this great.
You know what else wasn't on it was the Metallica album that they did with Lou Reed.
Oh,
is that bad?
Yeah,
I never heard
anything
with
Lou Reed.
I didn't even know that was a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah, they did an album together. I think it's
so bad.
Is it bad? Well, you don't like Lou Reed at all.
I hate
Jeffrey,
Lou Reed,
but I would listen to it. I like Lou Reed, but that doesn't sound like a good combination. But I would still try to listen to it. Is it hard, or did they try to slow down for Lou?
No, it's hard.
No, it's but it was.
What was he doing? Was he singing?
Trying to.
Was he trying to go metal?
Yeah. What's that stupid song that sings, Satellite of Love?
Or was he like, Sweet Jane, Sweet Jane? Was it like that? Because that would be fun.
I think he was just doing his thing.
He does try and sing hard. He does try and sing.
Does he?
Yes.
That's
yeah, it's really bad.
I don't remember him singing hard. I didn't hear the whole thing, but I heard enough.
Oh, that's great.
They
I
still
definitely gotta
picked
check
Saint
that out.
Anger over that, though.
Right.
Let's get into Anthony's album because this,
Yeah.
I've been
Okay, let's do
caged
it.
up
All right, let's do
listening
it.
to
You
this.
guys start,
All right.
Anthony. So what do you got?
All right, so I picked Saint Anger by Metallica. Came out, I believe, 2002. And there's also a documentary about this album, the making of this album. And right from the beginning, things are not, they don't have a bass player anymore. Jason Newsted left the band. They got Bob Rock producing and playing bass in the studio. Lars and James Hetfield are not getting along. It's a mess right from the beginning. And also it's more collaborative. So everybody's contributing lyrics, which is a big mistake. Because there's some of the worst lyrics of all time on this album. And then also they're not even sure what they want to do. Because this is like the height of nu metal's popularity. And so Metallica is in the studio like, should we not do guitar solos? Because it's not cool anymore? I don't know. And then Kirk Hammett is like, come on, guys. Come on. And so it's a mess. And then at one point, James Hetfield goes to rehab for drinking. He's gone for like a year, maybe almost a year. So then they start again and they finish the album. And it sucks. The drum sound is awful. I think Lars does he turns the snares off of the snare drum. So it just sounds like he's like, let's do that. Nobody's doing that. And so it's like to this day, I still see on Instagram drummers. I don't know if you guys get drummer content, but I get drummer content. And there's like stuff about making your drums sound like a garbage can. And they'll just be like lip syncing the drum parts to Metallica songs from this album. So not a great album. Probably the worst lyric I can think of off the top of my head is my lifestyle determines my death style.
Your lifestyle, what is it again?
My lifestyle determines my death style.
Yeah,
Death
that's
style.
deep, man.
Death style.
That's deep.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. That looks pretty good on a t-shirt. I don't know. Might have to
You
rock
put
that.
dry bar underneath it, and then
Hey, Dustin's vinyl on the back. Dustin's vinyl on the back. Who's your band underneath that?
there we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Slumber
That's
party
funny.
on the bottom.
Summer party. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think rather than listening to the album, watch the documentary. Some Kind of Monster is what it's called. And
I heard about the movie. I heard the movie was pretty good.
it's worth seeing.
Yeah.
It's a more enjoyable experience than listening to what they actually made.
You know, this is one of those things. I wasn't that familiar with the album, and I just felt like they were trying to adapt to the times, and I feel like that's always a mistake. I think with bands, you know, where they're trying to stay young, or they're trying to be hip, or they're trying to get a new audience, and you know, it ruins everything. Like you know, and I see a lot of bands try to do it, and then they go back to the old thing. And I mean, you know, like even Kiss, they actually, some of their better songs came from them, like, you know, taking the makeup off and stuff. But then, you know, but I think maybe 2 songs, and then, you know,
Lick it
It
up.
Up and Heaven's on Fire. I can't really, you know, there's a couple that were decent, but you know, but I don't know. There's something about it where you're just trying to be, you know, stay young or whatever. I mean, how do you feel about this, Jeffrey? Like, what's, you know?
Well, for this album, I despised it. It got me physically angry, because I love Metallica, but I hated this album with such a passion, because you have people sometimes that will try to defend it by going, you know, Frantic is fuck Frantic. Frantic sucks. The whole album stinks. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, and I'm thinking the same thing you were just talking about. What was up with the drums? It sounded so weird. The whole
Terrible.
There's nothing on it. There's nothing redeeming on it. It's a brutal album. It was easily, out of the 4 albums that we picked here, easily the worst one.
Hilarious. But you know, even Guns N' Roses didn't try to like be grunge. I mean, that was a horrible album that they came out, but at least they didn't try to do that. You know what I mean?
Did you think this was grunge though?
I thought it was. It sounded like STP to me.
I
Like
don't
it
know what
was.
the fuck it sounded
I
like.
thought they
I
were
thought
trying.
grunge.
It sounds like they were trying to do that. That's what I got from it. They were trying to be hip to the sound, Audio Slave or something, like their version of that.
I thought System
What'd
of
you
a
think?
Down.
Yeah,
System of a
whatever. I
Down.
don't know
Oh
that-
yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting because there's one part in the documentary where Kirk Hammett is, they're telling him they might not want guitar solos, and he's like, but if we do that, that dates this album to this moment in time, and everybody kind of looks at him like he's crazy. But now, 20 years later, you look back and it's like, yeah, it does. You said System of a Down, so it's like it is dated to that moment in time because of what they did, trying not to be dated.
And it's
the guitar
basically
solos.
System of a Down with Limp Bizkit lyrics.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
Tell us more,
Yeah.
Adam. Tell us more.
Yeah, I mean, this is just it was just an hour and 15 minutes of torture listening to this album.
Like waterboarding.
Right.
This album.
I try.
In the remake of The Sopranos, in that scene at the lake, this is what they'll be playing
yeah.
instead of Sinatra.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, Adam he's not that harsh, so it must be a bad album. Yeah, he's usually not that bad.
I tried a bunch. I mean, I tried listening to this maybe 4 or 5 times, and each time I would look and be like, "Wait, we're only halfway through this."
It is long.
And even speaking of lyrics too, off of Saint Anger, where there's that one lyric where he says, "I'm madly in anger with you."
Oh, I forgot about that one.
I
Madly
don't mind
in
that.
anger
I
with
get
you.
that. I've had some crazy exes. I get that.
He's writing that
But you
about
never put it in
Lars,
the
I think.
song, Dustin.
No, you never put it on. You never put it on. Just keep it in the bedroom, but you don't put it in the Yeah, I didn't even like the when they, and it actually sounded good. I'm just kind of whatever, but even when they did like the orchestra behind them, I've talked about this before, and I thought that was corny, and then this is
Really?
another level. So
I saw that tour. I
Yeah.
saw them at Madison Square Garden doing the S&M tour.
You liked it?
I mean, I was probably 13 or 14.
Yeah, 13.
I liked it at the time. It was pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool concert to see when you were 13. I saw Stryper at 13. Not as good. When you get hit in the head with a Bible, But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's always like they think they're bigger than they are. It was kind of the downfall of Elvis. Like like there's just so many like, oh, I need this orchestra and this thing, and I need to be bigger. And sometimes just the root of how you got there is so much better than this big show you try to do. And so this album is them obviously trying to do more than they need to be doing. And too many people talking. I think that's what it is too. You know what I mean? People just trying to be like, hey, some young hot shot. Hey, let's do something new and different, exciting. I don't know. Just like there's that scene in Rocket Man where Elton John's doing some awful music, and because somebody, thinks it's like the next wave of whatever. And I don't know. I just feel like just what got you there is what you kind of hold on to sometimes. I don't know. Is there any band that you think like took a risk and went somewhere and it worked? Like I know Sting tried to do jazz. Like Adam, what do you think?
Radiohead.
Radiohead.
Oh,
Okay,
Radiohead.
of course you said Radiohead.
Right. Well, because if you go from you go
Were they
from
going from
okay-
worse
Like
to bad?
talk to me. What do you mean? Like what did they do?
Well, they
what
went
genre?
from they went from OK Computer to all of a sudden going off into this abandoning. I mean, they had 3 guitar albums.
Okay.
They had Pablo Honey, the Bends, OK Computer. Then all of a sudden they just, at the height of their popularity, they just ditch guitars completely and go mostly electronic for
Oh,
Kid
wow.
A, and it
Okay.
worked. It worked, and then
Okay.
they slowly, right after Kid A and Amnesiac, they slowly worked the guitars back in with the Hail to the Thief and kind of create this this combination of the two, their early 3 albums and their kind of 2 more abstract albums. And it worked. I mean, they're still,
Interesting.
they're still such a big band. They're still, an event band every time a new album comes out, and they
Okay.
constantly kind of tweak their sound.
Okay, so I respect that. I think that's cool. I think that's different. I feel like a lot of these bands on this list kind of pretend these albums don't exist. I mean, I think
Right.
Aerosmith is still playing some of the hits and whatever, but I don't. I've seen Willie Nelson live like 5 times. He's never played any of these reggae songs.
Right.
I'll give you a band that changed
Please.
that sound, took a
Please.
risk, and we all know it. Journey. Journey started out as a jazz fusion band.
There you go.
They didn't have Steve Perry. They weren't all that successful. They really derived from Santana. You had Greg Rowley and Neil Schon, who came out of Santana. They had two jazz musicians with them, and they put out about 4 albums of just like free form music until they were about to be dropped. And the A&R guy said, "Hey, let's bring in this singer," and it was Steve Perry, and it kind of saved the band. But they changed the sound completely.
I felt like they, even though that is what happened, and Steve Perry made them, more successful, I felt like they fought Steve Perry a little bit. Like they didn't want to do, some of his ballad stuff because they felt like it wasn't rocking like Journey, is used to rocking. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they fought it a little bit, even though.
Well, I was gonna say what really changes the sound of the band is when Greg Rowley leaves. He's kind of pushed out.
Okay.
And Jonathan Cain from the Babies comes in. Okay. And then he's the guy who wrote Faithfully. In fact, when Prince wrote Purple Rain, one of the stories is he calls Jonathan Cain because he thought it's, Purple Rain sounded too much like Faithfully. And he wanted to say, hey, do I got your approval? Is this cool to put out? And, Jonathan Cain is like, of course.
Oh, that's great. I love that because that's what David Tell does. David Tell will call comics and be like, "Hey, man, I got this joke about a midget and a cow. Are you doing that?" So, I love that somebody would do that. Like that's a real artist.
Really considerate.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty great. Yeah. And then see if you can get away with it. I love it. All right. So yeah, I mean, but I don't know. I think if you're a true Metallica fan, you're not going to find any redeeming quality, to this album. What do you think? I know you're a hardcore Metallica fan.
I like Frantic as a song. I don't mind it.
Come on, it's terrible.
I mean, it's still not great, but it's the best song on the album by far.
You wouldn't put it on your top 50 Metallica songs.
No. But if you have to find something,
I don't think they have
top 50. It's not even.
You don't think they have 50 good songs?
I think they have 50 songs that are better than Frantic.
I don't think any band has 50 I can listen to.
I was a pretty big Metallica fan.
I tap out at like 30. I'm like, all right, every band's got maybe 30.
But if you have to listen to one song on the album, that's Frantic. The one I would say. Yeah. I don't mind it.
What's the really long song? It's like came in at over 8 minutes.
I don't remember.
There were 2 really long songs that are just like, holy smokes.
Is it some kind of monster?
Going. No, it was another song.
This monster lives.
Oh, no, what it was? Invisible Kid.
Invisible Kid. Also terrible lyrics on that one.
Feeling were just like insufferable. Oh, and let's also
Kid.
Throw in there All Within My Hands. These are so forgettable.
They really are. I can't remember it.
Exactly. You can't remember it.
So bad. So bad.
Is the same band that gave you Seek and Destroy. That's it.
I mean, sometimes, it's like you have great and then you have whatever. I mean, we're like that. All artists are like that. I mean, come on. Come on, Jeff. It's like, we're on the road and we're like, and Anthony too, you're just like, you got like 6 great minutes and then you're like, all right, here's some filler.
Yeah.
I'm flattered that you think I got 6 great minutes.
All right, we got 4 minutes and then a lot of crowd work. That's most comics. But I'm just saying, me included. But no, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, you have a joke, like you tell it and you're just like, it works and you're mad that it works. You know what I mean? I have jokes like that where I'm like, why does this still work? And then you're just like, it's not that great, but you're just laughing more than you're laughing at the stuff I care about.
Exactly.
That always happens to me. Yeah. The stuff I care about, the audience is like,
your whole existence, Anthony. They don't get you yet. That's okay. No, they get you. You're doing good. They follow them on what is that band thing? What are you, Bandcamp?
Bandcamp.
Follow them on Bandcamp.
Follow me on Bandcamp.
The deep cuts. Get the deep cuts of Anthony on the Bandcamp. All right, Jeffrey, what'd you bring us?
Okay. I brought us Cheap Trick, The Doctor, and that came out in 1986. So let me ask you guys a question. When you think Cheap Trick, what do you think?
Guitar, Rick Nielsen, the double neck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or how many necks does it have? He's got like the guitar with like 5.
Yeah, that's sometimes
5 guitars.
Angus Young. Is that weird? All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you think a rock band, right? You think a rock and roll band, you think a 4-piece rock band. Know what you don't think? You don't think synthesizers, you don't think keyboards, and you don't think electronic drums, and that's exactly what Cheap Trick did here. And I think this is also under the same thing as that I think some of these albums, especially the Weezer album, is you have an obligation to the record company. They had just released like a pretty decent album called Standing on the Edge with a really good song on it called Tonight It's You, and it was a straight up great rock record, and they were gonna go on tour, and they're like, you have an A&R guy that says, something, man, it's 1986. We gotta sound like Flock of Seagulls. Okay, so why don't we replace Bunny Carlos's regular drums and let's put in some electronic drums, and we'll add some synthesizer, and we'll also get rid of the original bass player and add John Brandt, who's not a terrible bass player, but it changed. But we were just talking about earlier how taking out a core member changes the sound as well.
Yeah,
the album never cracks the top 100. Okay, doesn't even sell 90,000. This is a band that sold multi-million.
Wow.
The single "It's Only Love" never breaks the top 100. The album and all the songs on it sound completely cluttered. It's a unbelievably forgettable album with not one catchy hook, no lyric that stands out. It is what people would call a nothing burger from a great band.
Wow. Nothing burger. I like that. That's going to be my next album title.
And make a great t-shirt. You have like two buns with nothing in it.
Yeah.
Would. Yeah, it's pretty bad when the Cheap Trick Christmas album is better than this.
That's what when I saw this on the list, I was like, they have 2 Christmas albums and this is the one. Oh man.
Yeah, what did you think, Adam?
All right. I didn't hate this album, and I'll tell you why though.
The look on Jeffrey's face.
All right, so I was a kid in the 80s, and so the first Cheap Trick I listened to was probably this or Standing on the Edge. So I have that nostalgia for that part of Cheap Trick.
Oh, you heard this? Okay.
Yeah. So this, and then Lap of Luxury. I love The Flame. But it was.
Oh, whoa!
I know,
okay.
But I was also. You're
like coming at this from a different perspective.
I know, I was 10 years old then.
He's 10. He's 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was listening to the Doctor, and it was more like, oh, you know what? Like, I know that this isn't a good album, but there's that nostalgia there. There's that nostalgia. It's very 80s. This album, and it's.
But it's not Cheap Trick.
Right. But that's the thing. It's like there's some new wave in there. There's Are You Lonely Tonight reminds me a little bit of the Cars. There's
without the catchy hook.
Right. But it's still like it was bringing back memories of I remember seeing that on the cover on cassette of that, and what was it before? Standing on the Edge. It was more just a nostalgia thing. I mean I was those were my first Cheap Trick album, my first Cheap Trick exposure. So I could see where I could see why this is a bad album, but it's just tough to get over that kind of nostalgia for it.
It's interesting because it's like, when you're a kid, you think things are good when they're not good. My favorite Steve Miller band was Abracadabra. I thought was the greatest song ever, because I was a kid. It came out and it was everywhere. Abracadabra.
I don't mind that song. I like it.
It's pretty bad when you realize how good a guitarist he is and like how good the band is. And you're just like, once you've listened to the real stuff, you're like,
talk about changing styles.
Yeah, that was a risk. That was a risk.
Steve Miller did the Joker. Was that it?
Yeah. Joker, Fly Like an Eagle. It's the same guy.
Fly Like an Eagle.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I feel like. But it was a hit. It's like people embraced it because they loved him. I don't know. It was a weird one though. It didn't seem like it got a lot of shit, and maybe it should have. I don't know.
I like it.
Had an amazing video.
I think that's what it was. But that's what a lot of this
Terrible.
is. Like this Cheap Trick album. I mean, cocaine is a serious drug.
Yeah.
That's what most of this list should be called. Artists that did coke and thought their album was a good idea. That's what the list should be called.
I think on that note, I think we should talk about your album.
My album?
Yes. Guys that did coke and thought it was a good album.
Oh
Yo-
yeah.
Oh,
Willie
my
Nelson-
album. I
yeah,
thought you were talking about my
Willie
personal
Nelson
album.
did-
I was
yeah,
like, my
Willie
stand-up.
Nelson
I was like,
doing
God,
reggae.
Jeff, you're going in hard.
He's going hard. I
Oh, man.
I like the-
Anthony
I
helped
like the-
produce those. I was
Yeah.
like, what? God, man, we don't go in each other's act. Come on, there's a line here, bro. That's hilarious. Yeah, I went with
okay.
Willie Nelson's Countryman, which is Willie Nelson's, it's funny. I left my notes in California, but Willie Nelson went down this road of reggae, and I think a lot of it has to do. This is 53rd studio album, and
Wow.
and 10 years. Talk about, 10 years making this album, and so
Whoa.
since 1995, and then it came out in 2005.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because when you think of Willie Nelson, you think of weed. And, you think of like this culture of weed and whatever. And so a lot of his friends are like Snoop Dogg and, Ziggy Marley and stuff. So I could see where all this kind of comes together. And a lot of reggae is like country because it's about, hardship and being down and out and different things in the country, and pride and all that stuff. I can see where it becomes a good idea in theory. And I think, and Willie Nelson's a good guitarist and stuff, and, a good lyricist for the most part. But some things should just be maybe done at your house, where you jam with some reggae guys and you have a good time with it. Maybe you do a guest spot at a reggae festival, like a crazy thing. But to do an album that you're serious about for 10 years, that comes out like this. His voice just doesn't work for me as a reggae lead singer. It just doesn't work. He's got one of the best country voices of all time. But when it comes to reggae, it just, you got to have a Rastafari and you got to have a black dude. White guys can't do reggae. There's like 3 guys that did rap. There's nobody that can do reggae. UB40 pulled off one song, and that's
Maybe
it.
Snow.
Snow.
Is that a real thing?
Informer.
Is that a real thing?
Informer. Remember that song?
And then
No,
and that's all I know. I don't know anything.
I don't even know.
else.
Is that a white reggae band? That's hilarious.
Oh yeah, he's a Canadian.
If you do something funky, like Big Audio Dynamite or something, like you're playing around with all the genres, I'm into that. But if you're taking something serious, like I'm gonna do my reggae album now.
Oh yeah, classic reggae sound.
Yeah, I'm just not feeling it. And there's some couple of songs that aren't terrible on this album, and but I don't know. Anthony, help me out a little bit. I got a dog I'm dealing with.
I didn't like it. It was fun, but it was goofy, and it didn't feel like an album that needed to exist.
It doesn't. It didn't need to exist. That's when you're smoking too much weed. When you're like, let's do the reggae album.
I'm all in. I'm all in with this.
10 years though. That's
10 years makes it.
This should have been like 3 weeks. They'd have been like, all right, let's just pump it out.
It felt like he only worked on it for 3 weeks. As a listener, that's what it felt like. The fact that it's 10, I didn't know that. It makes me not like it. I was going to go easy on it, but 10 years, no, thanks.
It's kind of like, like Eddie Murphy was like, hey, let's do Party All the Time. I'm sure he was hanging out with Rick James, and then they just like, oh, let's just do this next month or whatever. But this is like, and then it was whatever song, but this is a whole album that's serious and everything. So yeah, I don't know. I just think, because I'm all about like, something different and something fun. And I think that's okay. But when you really take it too serious, I think like last time we talked about Bob Dylan doing the Frank Sinatra stuff. And it's like, when it's just like, when you're just going all in, like people are paying probably like $500 to go see Bob Dylan, and they show up and he doesn't do all along the Watchtower. Like, come on, doing Rolling Stone, and like
he does no hits.
He's doing My Way, and with that horrible voice. Like, come on, dude. Like, you can't. Like, give us Bob Dylan.
My way.
Exactly. So it's like, I don't know. I just think people, you gotta have people saying, nah, let's don't do the album. But but I guess when you're big enough, you can do whatever you want. And that's why this list exists, because all these people were big and they could make these decisions, and somebody was like thinking they could make money off of it.
Just go for it. But you said it was like, what, his 53rd album?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I might cut him a little slack for that. You do 52 albums.
You can make a
53rd
reggae album. I
You're
agree.
good. Yeah,
I
you're gonna
agree.
want to
Willie
experiment.
Nelson.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I didn't even think about that when I said the stat. I was like,
53.
that's a lot
Yeah.
of albums. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of it is, kind of albums that have recycled or whatever.
Did he do a synthesizer album?
I hope
No,
the
but
'80s?
he's doing a children's album where he's going, Jack and Jill went up the hill to get some weed. I can't do a Willie Nelson. I'm sorry.
It's just Bob Dylan again.
I respect you so much for going all in on that. I'm not even going to make fun of you. I respect because I respect that wholeheartedly. Somebody in the chat just said Saint Anger sucks or whatever. That's all we got on the internet.
Oh yeah,
We know that already.
and Anger sucks.
Yeah, also we don't know. But
We
yeah,
have to listen to it.
Adam, what did you think about the?
I would have enjoyed this in college, sitting in my room with blacklight posters. But this is
not
this,
even. I like reggae and I love country, but I don't like them together. I don't think it's a combo that works. I really don't.
Yeah,
I don't think it works.
it's I think it's fascinating to listen to now. I think there were some songs like "The Harder They Come" I liked, "Darkness on the Face of the Earth," and I liked the cover. I mean, it was his song originally, but of "I've Just Destroyed the World." Even though his voice there is something where his voice sounds a little bit off, but it is kind of interesting. I think it's a very situational album, though.
And I love Willie. I mean, I have lyrics on my arm, like I love Willie Nelson, but I just feel like, this just was a fail, in many ways, but whatever. I think he's done that song maybe in concert, but he didn't do it reggae style.
Yeah.
Harder They Come or whatever. I think he did it just straight, just regular or whatever, acoustic. But yeah, we didn't do your album, right, Adam?
No.
What's yours? Yeah.
So I did. I picked Weezer's 2009 album "Ratitude," and this is just a baffling, confounding album. Like I listened to this so many times trying to figure it out, and I actually went back and listened to Weezer's post Green albums. They did 3: Maladrot, Make Believe, and the Red album, and those were great. Those were actually. I mean, Make Believe is a fantastic album.
The Red album sucks.
It's interesting. It's adventurous. It's not as good as the other ones. But
Adventurous is being kind, but yeah, adventurous is a word.
Anthony is very loving and very hard on Weezer.
Right.
They break my heart every time I listen to something new.
That's the thing about Weezer. It's like they are just one of the most frustrating bands to be a fan of, and especially of this album too.
Interesting.
Just because they're so prolific, and they just put out so many more misses than hits. But
they have way more bad albums now than good ones.
But they must be doing something right, because it's almost 30 years since the Blue album, and they're still relevant. They still and I think I kind of got it with this album. I mean, this is a bad album, but they're almost in a lot of ways just staying relevant in it. They're trying to appeal to a different generation, not appealing to the people who grew up with the Blue album. They're starting something new for people growing up with Ratitude and all these others. So this is basically just a pop album. It lacks Weezer's weirdness. It lacks the irony. It's just straight up bland pop songs. And they collaborated on this album with Jermaine Dupri, Lil Wayne, Dr. Luke, people outside of what you would think of a Weezer album. It sounds like that. I mean, it sounds like it is made entirely just for teenagers. And every song, I mean, there's only really one good song. It's that first song. If you're wondering if Want You To, which was, I think, written by, I think it was Butch Walker, wrote that with Rivers Cuomo. It's a fun song. It's catchy, but the rest of it just the rest of the album is awful. There was just one other one I wanted to talk about was Can't Stop Partying, which if he's playing it straight, it's a horrible song. If he's being ironic about just the kind of absurdity of club life, then it's actually kind of a fun song. But otherwise, it's the whole album is pretty bland.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the love affair for Weezer that you guys do. The only albums that I like are Pinkerton and Van Weezer. So I feel like I'm very out of the Weezer fan club. But you know, I mean, here's the burning question. Like, would you rather a band give you a limited catalog, or would you rather them take risk and try to do an album and it's shit? And you might get a couple of songs. You know, would you rather them just not do those risks and take it, or would you rather like just have a very, you know, like a bad album once in a while, because they might find something good, because they thought Pinkerton was a bad album until everybody said it wasn't, and then they like, oh, okay, no, this is our masterpiece we meant to do, you know. But you know, and you know, you guys got me onto that album, and I love it. I bought it on vinyl. Like, I think it was great. I would have never even thought to buy that album, and because it didn't sound like Weezer, that's why I liked it. But you know,
let me ask you guys this:
nobody
you
answered
take
my
away.
question.
Yeah, but, I don't know.
Answer mine first, and then we'll answer yours. All right, but you know what I mean. What do you think, Jeff? Would you rather like people not take risks?
You know, that's a really tough question. You know, especially if you have hindsight. So I guess without hindsight, I guess I don't mind a band taking a swing and a miss. I really don't. Okay. But after having some hindsight, okay, and I think if you take away the first 3 Weezer albums, what are they?
Right. What are they?
What is anybody? The first 3
no,
albums.
but no,
Zeppelin's first 3. I mean, come on.
Every Zeppelin album is really good except for Presence. Okay.
No, but the first 3 are something special, I think.
Zeppelin 4, House of the Holy are masterpieces. Okay. But I mean, Weezer they got such highs, and then they have such lows, and then they have this album. I didn't even know this album existed. It was so bad. You talk about bland. This was bland. This was tan pants with a tan shirt. That's what this was.
The Tan album.
It was your other new album, Anthony.
I mean, this was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Not on the level of Saint Anger. And also, I mean, with Dustin's album, I thought, which is the Willie Nelson album, not your album. Okay, the Willie Nelson album. I thought out of the 4 albums, I thought this was the one that was the least offensive.
Really?
Of the 4. Yes.
Yeah,
I thought this Weezer album was behind Saint Anger. But I mean, this was real. I mean, what the hell was that? Jim Gaffigan. You look like Jim Gaffigan right now.
Who are you talking to?
Who?
Adam.
You know, Jeffrey's like seems like he's got like his maturity level together, and then his ADD kicks in, and you're like, you have children.
I'm looking at him. I'm like, who's he look like? He looks like
Jim Gaffigan. He just stops mid whatever to be like, you look like Jim Gaffigan, or you look like this other dude dating Natalie Cuomo. Like, what are you talking about?
How does she making a guest appearance on this show?
That's all right. All right, everybody. This is a fun show as always.
Okay. I liked it.
Do you have something? I'm sorry. Go ahead. We're just running out of time. I got a text.
So that's okay. You didn't.
Anthony, what do you got?
I didn't talk about a couple of albums today.
Oh, we didn't do your album?
We didn't ask me what I thought about this one or the Cheap Trick album. So
jump in. We'll try.
Try to jump in.
Jump in. What do you think?
Now it's weird.
What do you think about the? No, it's not weird. It's never weird.
I tried to like this. I think the first 3 songs were not awful, but then it gets to the partying song, which I hated, and it doesn't really recover from there. There's what's the Love Is the Answer. That's bad. It's pretty. I think this could have been a good EP. But also the bonus track version of the album, which was what I listened to on Apple Music, it has an old song from right after Pinkerton that he wrote that was a contender for the Green album, which is called "The Prettiest Girl in the Whole Wide World," which I think is.
There's a reason why he didn't make the album, Anthony.
You don't think that would have been good on the Green album?
No, I don't think any of these. I don't think
that would have been good on the Green album.
I don't think any of these songs should have been on an album.
I really like that song. I think that's by far the best.
Saint Anger of Weezer.
It is, but the fact that song is a bonus track on this terrible album, I think they should have put it on on the official track list. I think it would have been a good
Great job.
addition.
Oh, and Anthony,
Anyway.
new rule: if I forget to call on you because I'm a substitute teacher brain, just jump in. You don't always have to wait on me to call you. I forget. We're all in this. We're all getting in the moment, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the Cheap Trick album, Anthony?
I never heard of it. I've seen them live, and I love a bunch of their albums. I never heard of it. I thought I was gonna hate it because it starts out the first song. They sound kind of like they're trying to do a Devo thing. But I didn't love it, but I liked it. I appreciated that they were experimenting. I thought it worked better than some other.
But it's funny that
artists
you
we
appreciate
listened to.
them experimenting, but not the other guys, not Metallica experimenting. Apparently,
Well, Cheap Trick sounded more like they were having fun,
okay.
and
didn't.
Metallica was not having fun.
They were miserable making this album.
Were they?
Hilarious.
Yes.
I don't
Was this after the Flame?
This
was right before.
This is before the Flame.
Oh, so they were struggling.
Because they go,
Because didn't Rick Nielsen smash the demo tape of the Flame? Was the record label's like, here, you got to do this song, and he just hated the song so
One of
much.
their biggest songs. That
Yeah.
Surrender and this was their biggest songs. That's so funny. And Adam
Right.
loves it.
But when I was 10.
And shut up. You were 36.
But they didn't even write it. They didn't write the Flame.
All right. Does anybody have anything else to say?
That's right.
I was trying to cut anybody off.
We're
I want
good.
everybody to have free. I love all of you very, very much. My brain is trying to get everybody. I got a dog. My mom's calling. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to Dustin's Vinyl and watching us here on Twitch and on YouTube. Please follow us and support us more, and we would love that. And go to record stores and buy vinyl. Support record
Yeah.
stores. Stop downloading everything. All right, Anthony.
I gotta go, guys.
Give
I'll
us
see you
something.
later.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
See you later.
Take care, guys.
I don't even have to pick up the instruments.
I love it. You just play with your toe.
Man.
All right.